Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. And we're off to another week here as this quarter now starts just ripping on through, right? So for example, today's lesson will be for April the 25th as I look at my trusty calendar. And I didn't mention it to you, but that's the fourth week, right? So again, April the 25th. Today's lesson will be, may I borrow a word? We'll get into some other word usage that has come from other languages and crept its way into English. Okay. So without further ado, let me share the screen, go to the material. I guess I'm going to stay. Doesn't want to. There we go. Okay. I'm out. Okay. Let me go start slideshow from the beginning. Okay. We should be on our way. English 101. Developing communication skills is the name of the class. You see the week 4 there. Again, that's for April the 25th on a Monday online. Okay, get into this. Okay, here we go. May I borrow a word? Okay, this is right here. This is not really important right here. We just need the information. So early Norse carpenters. So we're talking about the Norwegians. And carpenters are people who make things with wood. Do you know who the world's most famous carpenter was? Do you know who that was? It was Jesus Christ. Yes. Okay, so again, early Norse carpenters had few tools and no building materials other than wood, stone, and straw. And this is, the roof here is made of straw. Many early cultures made their roofs from straw. Consequently, they were forced to build houses as simply as possible. Simply. There were no iron hinges. Those are those iron pieces that fasten the door to the frame. Doors usually hung on leather thongs. So doors hung on pieces of leather. Since doors had to be closed in cold weather, some form of ventilation, that means where you have air coming in and out, circulating. You have a room completely closed and no windows open. There is no ventilation, and it's going to be pretty stuffy, and eventually you're going to have some kind of strange smells there. So again, since doors had to be closed in cold weather, and you know that Scandinavian countries, whether it's Norway or Sweden, they get cold as hell. They really snow a lot. So this ventilation had to be provided. This was usually done by leaving a hole or eye in the roof, right? So at least when it comes to the roof. That's another thing. You don't want a big open window in a snowstorm, otherwise your room and house will get full of snow. Through it, smoke and foul air could escape. So when you're cooking on a stove pot or even a stone pot, the smoke could go out. Or, like I said, you keep a room closed completely for a length of time, and you will foul, means bad, stinky air, worse than anybody's dirty socks. Okay, because the wind frequently whistled through it. Say, what whistle? That's wind whistling. Okay. The air hole was called Vindir Auga, wind eye. If I give you a test question on this, you will not have to remember the Scandinavian. Okay, don't worry about it. English builders borrowed the Norse term, modified it to the window, and developed new techniques by which the eye that once admitted or allowed the wind now holds it in. Okay. Nice modern window there. The picture. Pie. Are we talking about strawberry pie? Chocolate cream pie? Apple pie? You know, that's a question I would like to know. So I've never asked the Mongolian that. So Inky or Temujin or Tal, any of my Mongolian students, with your answers, can you let me know? I'm very curious. What is the most popular pie? This is not what we're going to talk about here, but it's a different pie. But I'm just curious. What is the most popular sweet pie in, let's say, Ulaanbaatar, right? United States, when I was a kid, apple pie was number one. That was not my favorite, but apple pie was number one. Maybe now, I went like apple pie, and then I got older, I went to cherry pie, chocolate cream pie. Now it might be pecan pie, but I'm curious. What is the number one pie? Maybe they don't eat pie in Ulaanbaatar, but my students will let me know. That's an extra question for my Mongolian students. Okay, pie. Until the late 18th century, the bird now called magpie, which is right here, was simply pie. These birds are very noisy. They're like kiki 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 kiki. They are magpies. Then, as now, such a bird was likely to be a habitual collector, which means I don't know why, but they collected things, anything. And as you can see, it's very strange, but this magpie has some pearl jewelry that it found and brought it to its home or nest. Why it collects it, I don't know. The bird's not going to wear it, but it's habitual. They can't stop it. Like a habitual smoker, it's a habit that they just cannot stop. It was not unusual to find a pie's nest filled with pebbles, which are tiny rocks or stones, bits of broken glass, string from people's clothes, chicken feathers, which is a completely different bird species. Why do you want that there, Mr. Magpie? And so on. Other animals, are completely opposite. For example, if you have a cat, let's say, and you go to your friend's house and he just got a new cat, and the cat is playing with you and jumping all over you. When you get home, your new cat will smell that and be very angry. Doesn't like the smell of another cat. But I guess these magpies don't care about chicken feathers. At some unrecorded time, so this is way, way, way in the past, before they made written documents, an inspired housewife thought, oh, there's a pie, of placing a crust around a small pot of stew. She used whatever ingredients at hand, meat, fowl, which is, as you can see, I wrote this in here, birds, or fish, plus a few vegetables and perhaps an egg or two. Okay. Her menfolk liked the odd conglomeration. Conglomeration is a mix of different, here we're talking about ingredients for food, but you could have a business conglomeration where different businesses form a large size conglomeration. And casting about or looking about for a name, compared it with a pie's nest. Remember that magpie was called pie. Now, see, that's more of an easier question I might ask you. What was the original name for magpie? So, Temujin, don't say something like, oh, it was called sausagey. No, it was not called sausage. So this pie's nest, which was filled with a variety of odds and ends, again, remember chicken feathers, bits of glass, stones. So they called the new dish pie. So what I'm learning here is that this sort of meat pie came about before our Western style sweet pies, again, of the apple, cherry, pumpkin pies. That was way, way later. The original pies had to do with a meal and actual meat and vegetables. Okay, pie. Okay. First used in writing around 1303. How old is that? 700 years ago? Well, that's older than me. I'm only in my 600s. The word came to include many varieties of pie. No other language has a word that is even distantly related to the name of the most popular of English dishes. And yes, England is famous for meat pies, not the United States. We do have them, but they are not as common or popular as in England. Bangs. The term we now use to describe a particular hairstyle, that's when they cut your hair right over your eyebrows. Those are called bangs. Once referred to the way a horse tail looked. You can see here, this is the horse tail where the owner has put some ribbons in the tail. This is the rear part of the horse, the booty, right? And then these are the ribbons, okay? Money problems in the middle of the 19th century hurt many of the rich sportsmen. Some sold. Oh, hello, how are you doing? Their stables and horses. And you see down here, stables, buildings in which horses are kept. Right, many horses. You might have like 10 stable, right, for 10 horses. Others merely reduced their staff and kept only their best animals. So they didn't want to, or couldn't afford to keep, let's say 10. So they only kept their best. They kept maybe 4 or about half. The short-handed stable crews couldn't groom horses as carefully as before. So you see down here, grooms, people whose job is to look after horses in a stable and keep them clean. So you wash them, cut their hair. So, same thing as a person. A man might say, I take my grooming very seriously. So I make sure my mustache is trimmed, it's not wild. My beard, my hair is cut every month. So their grooming techniques are very important. Continuing right here. The short-handed stable crews couldn't groom horses as carefully as before. It had been customary to spend hours trimming a horse's tail. In the new age of austerity, so austerity is some type of success, the grooms just cut the tail off square or banged it off. Can't remember. Connect the term banged with a horse's tail. So I don't trick you and say, I banged my elbow on the table, which is also correct English, but it's not what we're talking about. Soon, bangtail animals were winning horse races everywhere. Designers took note, and it wasn't long before fashionable women were displaying their hair in bangs. See? What I mentioned earlier about the bang cut is right here, right above the eyebrows. When they cut it right there, those are called bangs. It started in the 60s or 50s, I'm not sure. Wasn't around then. even though I'm over 600 years old. Oh, sorry. The reading was short today, baby Bubba. That was a very short reading today. So that just means I got to jump into the questions even sooner. We make sure I'm at the same spot in the book. Okay. So vocabulary and context. Here's our weekly vocabulary building work. Select the letter of the answer that is closest in the meaning to the bold word. So again, I'm going to tell you, a lot of people are not paying attention to me. They are just following this, even though I mentioned to them. I don't know if they're listening or they turn the sound off so they don't hear me. Who knows? Right? But I would like you to, on your homework, to write the word ventilation, let's say, and then have an equal sign, or you could do a dash and then write the answer. You're supposed to get English writing practice and really connect the word and its definition. And you won't do that by just saying number 1 is A, 2 is C, 3 is B, and 4 is, hamburger. So please try to do those things, because I'll let you know why. Because on the midterm and the final, I don't do multiple choice. So you're going to have to remember. So if you're actually paying attention to me right now, then the homeworks, like I've been mentioning the last few weeks, will come in with a vocabulary word and then the written of its answer, right? Not just 1A, 2F, 4C, that kind of stuff, okay? All right, first question. Since doors had to be closed in cold weather, some form of ventilation had to be provided. So I'm going to read the possible answers. I'm not going to read the letters. Don't want to see them on the homework. A way to let light in. Remember, it's just ventilation. An opening to get in and out, maybe for rats and cockroaches. A system to allow air in and out. A way to see outside. So like in your car, you can have a sunroof. So the same with your house. Number 2. Through it, smoke and foul air could escape. So let's see the possible answers for foul. Clean and fresh, thick or dark, like a thick pizza or a dark coffee, light and fragrant, flour, dirty or impure. Oh dear, what are we talking about there? Dirty. Okay, 3, an inspired housewife. Inspired housewife thought of placing a crust around a small pot of stew. So if you don't remember stew, stew is another word for meat pie, even though without the crust, it's a stew. It's a stew, but I guess it's still a stew inside of the crust. So if you hadn't had a beef stew, there's cans of beef stew at Ralph's or Bonds. And an equivalent one is, for Korean people, it's daktoritang. That is a stew. Maybe for Japanese people, it's a chankonabe. It's a stew. Again, do Mongolians eat stew? Do Filipinos eat stew? Adobo, maybe it's a stew. How do we decide here in the United States what's the difference between soup and a stew? Anybody know that? Okay. If you use a spoon, it is probably a soup. If you have to use a fork or even chopsticks, because the pieces are so large and it's not really watery like a soup, then it's a stew. So fork of stew, a spoon of soup. So let me read that one again. An inspired housewife thought of placing a crust around a small pot of stew. So inspired, having good idea, being desperate, feeling concerned, having a great need for. Yes. Like maybe a great need for power. Like I think Madam Gu wants to be the next president of China. So maybe she's inspired. Next, or she used whatever ingredients at hand, meat, fowl, or fish. So again, fowl is a cow, a bird, a sea creature, or lamb, or maybe Sasquatch. You know what a Sasquatch is. So you would have to write Sasquatch and not a letter because there's no letter there. Okay. 5. Her menfolk liked the odd conglomeration. Conglomeration can be mess. That's a dirty conglomeration on the floor. Confusion. Combination. Or Sampet. Sampet. Oh, I sound like Filipino there. Pretty good. I'm from the Philippines. Didn't you know that? So choose the one, and again, write both. I don't want to see letters here. 6. They compared it with a pie's nest, which was filled with a variety of odds and ends. And the ends can mean a blend of ingredients, several different locks of hair, an assortment of small pieces, a number of things that belong together. 7. The short-handed stable crews couldn't groom horses as carefully as before, having many faults or defects, having less people than needed, being able to do something quickly, being rudely impatient. Now, that would never be my students, yelling and throwing paper airplanes or setting off a bomb in the class, And you wouldn't do that, would you, or Alex? I don't think so. Have to continue here. 8. The short-handed stable crews couldn't groom horses as carefully as before. Provide training to, give medical attention to, give food and water to, care for by cleaning and brushing. Yes, sir. Are we ready for the 9? Okay. Und like it. It had been customary to spend hours trimming a horse's tail. Trimming can be cutting in a neat and tidy way, cutting in a rough or ragged way, cutting extremely short, cutting straight or square. Yeah, those are your possibilities for 9. 10. In the new age of austerity, oh dear, grooms just cut the tail off square or banged it off. Possibilities: living with great style, living by society's rules, living in a different or radical way, living with less luxury and comfort. Okay, so that's our vocabulary building part of the lesson. Now we're going to go for skimming and scanning details. And again, you skim a page, meaning you don't read every word for the exact word meanings of every little word. You skim for the most important idea or details, right? You know, basically, like you read that whole page, even if it's a long page, and then when you're done at the bottom, you're like, well, I know the page is talking about men who play basketball while eating hamburgers at the same time. So maybe you didn't get every detail. You didn't find out exactly what kind of hamburger, like it was Burger King, they were eating, or what city they were playing basketball in, or what the score was. But you know the story, the main points are men playing basketball in teams while eating hamburgers at the same time. Okay, hopefully that helps you. So it says here, scan the reading quickly. So you'll have to go back to the reading and quickly complete the following sentences. Okay, 1. So again, there's no letters here, folksies. Gotta write that in English, practice that in English. In Norse homes, there were no iron hinges. Doors usually hung on, find the information. Again, don't say, they hung on pizza slices. I don't think that's what you'll find there. 2, in Norse homes, ventilation was provided by, and again, don't want to hear, it was provided by the air conditioning company. No. 3, the air hole in Norse homes was called Vinderauga or Windeye. So see, it's even supplied here. I'm not asking you, what was it called in the Norse home? It's here. And it was called that because, why? Because there was a big eye in the roof that looked at you, like in Lord of the Rings, Sauron. What's the answer? 4, until the blank century. So just supply me with a century, 2nd century, 3rd century, etc. The bird, now called magpie, was termed simply pie. Is that even true? Do you guys know about the House of Pies restaurant on Los Felix? Do you know about that? It's a good place, and I think they have over 20 different pies there. Except they don't have my pie, which is boysenberry pie, which is sweet and sour at the same time. Why they don't have boysenberry, I don't know. But many cream pies, cheesecakes, which are not technically pies, chocolate pies, and fruit pies. So I guess I'm giving them publicity. 5, the men compared the housewife's new dish with a old shoe, a bucket of worms. What did they compare the housewife's new dish with? Okay, 6, the word pie was first used in writing around the year. So you can say it, 2021. That's the first time I heard the word pie, 2021. Okay, 7, the term we now use to describe a particular hairstyle once referred to spaghetti. That's my hint. spaghetti. You can trust me and believe me and write it down, and you're on your way to an A, or you can not trust me and get a better grade. 8. In the middle of the 19th century, many of the rich sportsmen had blank problems. Was it drinking problems, gambling problems, marijuana problems, or taco problems? They had too many, they were eating too many Mexican tacos, and they had heartburn all the time, right? You know, I'm not trying to trick you. I would never do that, unlike Pamela. 9. To save time, the stable crews cut the horse's tail in a blank shape. So just give me a shape: square shape, pear shape, casserole shape, foot shape. Just let me know. Right. 10. Blank. Right away they start you with a blank. That's not good. Blank noticed the new tails on horses, and soon fashionable women were displaying their hair in bangs. What I'll tell you here is, and I've told this to students before, sometimes the answer is already in the question. So maybe you can find the answer word if you look hard enough in the question. Okay. Okay. So we've gotten through our vocabulary building and skimming and scanning, not scamming, that's a bad thing. And we're moving on to our second book. I don't know if you remember the title. It's English the American Way. Again, that might be for Yishuan. Okay. So let me get my one book out of the way. And again, I'm just following here, and get the other book for daily communication experience and techniques. Right. All right. So here we go. Dining in style. So good food ahead. A lot of times these don't go together, right? They don't go together. You're like, what are you talking about, teacher? Are you crazy? Well, yes, I'm crazy. That can happen, you know. But traditionally, dining in style means dining at an expensive or family restaurant. And very sad to say, sometimes, probably not too often, but sometimes an expensive restaurant does not have good food. I don't know why. You pay for the experience, or pay for the view or the city that it's in, like Beverly Hills. Like, I'll tell you one, if you go up to the Hollywood Hills, they have the famous Magic Castle, which is a magic club where people perform magic. And then next to it is a very fancy and beautiful Japanese restaurant called Yamashiro's. And the Japanese food there is nothing spectacular. It's very expensive, and the size is very small. Okay. But what are you paying for then? If you sit up there, you have a beautiful view of Hollywood, especially at night. And there's also a beautiful Japanese garden. Okay. A lot of times let you know too, good food can be at places. Again, I'm giving you kind of like a cultural lesson here. At places that do not look anything like a dining in style place. So another example is, if you've noticed in restaurants, we give them letters A, B, or C, right? And that's done from our food police. Yes, they're food police. And I think they do have a gun. I'm not sure. I don't know what they use it for, to steal the food, steal a steak. But so we know culturally, A is the highest, right? But for some American people, city people, they don't like an A restaurant because it's so clean that, again, this is a cultural aspect. Americans feel it's not that delicious. And most Americans prefer to go to a B restaurant because the thinking is little bit dirty equals very delicious, right? So B restaurants are the most popular. It's very, very rare to see a C restaurant. I've seen them, and they usually close down within 6 months if they get a C, right? And the only thing I could compare this to is when I was in China, there were some places in big cities that Chinese people, the translation, I'll have to ask Madam Gu for this because she's the restaurateur and next president of, or I'm sorry, what's the term? Chairwoman of China. They call them fly restaurants. So again, it's the exact same thinking. If there's no flies, the place is so clean, the place might not be delicious. But if it's got a fly or two, the flies are there because the food is delicious. So same kind of thinking, right? Here we go, zipping through the drive-through. Okay, if you've heard the term zipper, that's the metal hanging piece on your jacket or your pants. But when we talk about zipping, it means moving quickly. So this means moving quickly through the drive-through. And if you do that when you're driving and a policeman pulls you over, he'll tell you, I'm giving you a ticket for zipping through traffic. The speed limit is 35 and you're going 60, Phil. So don't zip through traffic. And again, another cultural thing is, I'm sure at least the boys here, I don't know about the girls, but you've probably gone to In-N-Out. And that name came about as a nickname about In-N-Out, that even though the lines are long, we're so fast, we're so good that you will come in and then get out quickly. That was in their song, In-N-Out, that's what a hamburger is all about. Okay, I would do more of the song, but I'm not a singer. Right, so here we go. I don't know about you, but I'm exhausted. So again, all these bolded words, write exhausted and then write the definition, what that means. All that waiting for the bus and hailing taxis. I'll give you this one. Hailing means calling a taxi or saying, hey, taxi, come over here. Has made me hungry. Hungry? Yes. In the mood to cook. So give me the definition of in the mood. No way. The hard part is deciding where to go and what to eat. Restaurant choices are endless. Steaks, vegetarian meals. Does vegetarian mean I wear vegetables on my head? Who knows? But you will let me know in the homework. Burgers, pizza, and ethnic cuisine. From just about every country on earth. Even the picky eaters. What does it mean to be a picky eater? Does that mean you pick your ears while you eat at the same time? And try to find some wax? Who knows? So even picky eaters will be happy. But I think some takeout is just what the doctor ordered. So again, Alex, no silliness. The doctor ordered pizza. That is not a definition of what the doctor ordered. That is a slang term. You have to let me know what it means. There's nothing like fast food after a busy day. And here we go back to the word. I wonder if Filipinos use it the same way. Ha! Fast food for when you're feeling slow. I've never heard that one. Why do you eat fast food? Because I'm feeling slow. Wow, I've never heard that term. This person's crazier than I am. Okay. But don't let fast foods bad rap. Okay. We're not talking about a chicken wrap or a McWrap. We're talking about something else. It's a slang term. You will find it in the dictionary. Don't let a food's bad rap fool you. It's more than just burgers and fries with a chocolate shake. With people becoming more health conscious and conscious of those extra pounds. So there is a difference between health conscious and conscious. Let me know the difference. Restaurants are providing more and more healthy choices. Salads, water, lean proteins, and whole grain breads. Again, what is grain? In fact, many restaurants now post the calorie counts of their menu items. That is true. They didn't do that back in the day when I was a young guy. I'm not sure I want to know that my mega cheeseburger lunch has more calories than I need for an entire day. If I remember correctly, okay, any dietitians are here, they can let me know if I'm saying the correct thing. To gain a pound, all right, if you just ate and didn't do any exercise, you'd have to eat 2,000 calories. Okay. And if I remember correctly, a Big Mac meal with a Big Mac, regular fries, and a regular Coke is almost 2,000 calories. Maybe it's 1,700 or 1,800. But there you go. That's without the apple pie or going to a large fry or a super large silo of Coca-Cola or endless refills. Okay. Once you have your dream dinner in mind, you can just hop into your car and head to the nearest drive-through. Sure, it may seem a little strange telling a machine that you want a mega burger with cheese. But when you continue to go to the window to pay, the cashier will have your juicy burger order all ready to go. Ah, I can taste the fries already. I don't know if there's any Jack in the Box fans here in the class, but none of you are old enough to remember this. Originally, Jack in the Box, when you went to the drive-thru in your car, the speaker was inside of a giant clown head. So you spoke to a clown, like a clown robot, what have you. That was the speaker. But after a while, they thought that was pretty silly. They got rid of it. Let's go to our first dialogue. Track 11. Machine guy. Can I take your order, please? Leah. A burger sounds good. I think I'll have a mega burger with cheese, extra pickles, no mayo. Okay, I'm going to want a definition. What is mayo? Okay, so I don't want to see something silly like, oh, Mayo is short for the mayor of Los Angeles, Garcetti. Okay, no. So continuing, machine guy. Anything to drink with that? Leah, I'd like a Coke extra large. Machine guy. Anything else? Leah, yes. A kid's meal with chocolate and chicken nuggets. Now, that's going to be interesting when you look up the meaning of chicken nuggets, what it's going to say. I'm going to look for that answer from my student. Machine guy, would you like fries with that? Leah, the fries smell great, but do you have fruit instead? So I guess she's worried about extra calories. Again, just to let you know a little history, like I did about the clown head, that was many, many years ago, probably before you guys were born, at Jack in the Box. Well, originally, if you know the word lard, which is some type of animal fat, they cooked McDonald's delicious French fries in animal fat or beef lard. And everybody, even now, if people don't like the McDonald's burger selection, they like the fries. But we had a health conscious attack in the 90s. So people said it's not healthy, or at least we don't feel that you can cook fries in beef fat. So they switched to the healthy vegetable fat. It changed the taste completely. The taste was not good. They were not delicious. And then people protested to bring back the beef fat, which is what they cook it in to this day. Believe it or not. Okay. Machine guy, sure. You can have an apple or fruit cup. The problem with that is that it probably has too much sugar, a fruit cup. So either way, probably not the healthiest choice. So stick with the French fries. Kid, Mom, I like fruit cup, but I'd like to have the apple. But only if they put a pie around it. He, he, he. Exactly. What kid? There is no crazy kid that wants an apple. An apple pie. Yes. Oh, I wish I had a McDonald's apple pie. Those are good. I think they're also fried in beef fat. Oh my God. Okay, next. Here we go. Our second little story here. A little more upscale. So, upscale is another word for fancy or expensive. All right. Since a lot of you guys live around the K-Town area, okay, I'm sure you know about Sizzler. All right. Now, if that's where you go to get your steaks, which over the years, again, have gotten so tiny, it's unbelievable. I think they can fit in a spoon. But, and you want to go to a better steakhouse, so you'll get a larger, better quality of steak because Sizzler is considered a family, every man, every person's steakhouse, affordable, that's where you go. But if you want to get a higher quality steak, a larger steak, you want something more upscale. In K-Town on 8th Street, I think it's 8th and Olympic, is a steakhouse called Taylor's. And I know some of my students know about Taylor's, right? It's very dark inside, very nice, very cool, old 60s style. So you want to go upscale, that's what you do. Okay. Maybe you've decided that a table near a window sounds better than a front seat near a windshield. So what they're saying here is even sitting inside a regular restaurant, not an upscale restaurant, is better than sitting in your car. Okay, so again, give me the definition of windshield. It may be time to splurge on a nice dinner out. Yeah, what does splurge mean? Does that mean when I drop my chocolate shake on the ground and the sound is splurge? It's easy to find a nice sit-down restaurant without breaking the bank. What does that slang term mean, breaking the bank? Do you go to the bank with a giant hammer and break the bank building? What does that mean? Especially in a tough economy, which is what we're in now, especially LA with the highest gas in the country, the highest sales tax in the country. Groceries are going out of crazy prices, and the restaurants have to raise their prices too. That's my definition for tough economy. Restaurants will do almost anything to get your business. I haven't seen that. They used to. Now I don't know what they're doing to get your business. Lots of places offer a restaurant week menu all year. I have not seen that in many years. Take advantage of the early bird special. What is early bird? Is that a bird that wakes up really early and gets the newspaper, the daily newspaper? You can have a fancy dinner at a much lower price. Many restaurants are chain restaurants. Does that mean they're connected by a chain? This means they have restaurants of the same name and type in many towns or cities. At many places, you can call ahead and make a reservation, and they will save a table for you at a certain time. They'll ask what time you like to eat and how many will be in your party. Some restaurants won't take a reservation. For those places, you check in at the hostess station when you arrive. So what does check-in mean and what does hostess station mean? Please, you're gonna have to supply that for your homework. Okay? Check-in and hostess station. The hostess will write down your name and call you when a table is free. Does that mean they're not gonna charge you for the table and you can take the table home? What does that mean? Or is it more like the Korean process in a nightclub of booking a table? Who knows? And I haven't forgot you, Alex, and your favorite place in K-Town, Saba. The hostess may give you a cool little gadget. Yes, what is a gadget? Is that an animal with 4 legs? To hold while you wait in the bar or outside. When a table becomes available, the gadget buzzes and vibrates, and the little lights start flashing. What is flashing? Not to be confused with flash in the pan. This can be very entertaining. Yay, I enjoy. The flashing lights mean that your table is ready. The wait is no fun, but the little gadget sure is. So the wait is no fun, but the little gadget is. Okay. Exciting. Dialogue 2, track 12. So our second dialogue, server, which is also can mean waiter or waitress. Hi, welcome to the Farkle restaurant. I'll be your server today. So what does server mean? I think I just gave you the answer. You're just in time for our early bird special. So you can choose from that menu or from the regular menu. Can I start you off with some appetizers and something to drink? When you look up the definition for appetizer, you'll be surprised what you'll get there. Alan, I think I may have a beer. Or this could be Alex Funk. What do you have on draft? What does on draft mean? Does that mean you're going to be drafted into the army if you drink it? Server, we have Statler Light and Orange Cow Tap. So on tap, does that mean you order a beer and then start tap dancing? I'm sorry, Alex, what's your house wine? A wine. Server, the house red is a Napa Valley Cabernet. So you have to let me know, where is the Napa Valley? Is it in Russia? Is it in South Africa? Or is it Mexico? And the house white is a Chardonnay from Mendoza, Argentina. See that, Argentina, so you don't know. Please let me know where the Napa Valley is from. Alex, I'll have a glass of Cabernet. Server, and for you, ma'am, at Leah, I'm driving, so I'll just have an OJ, okay? So what does OJ mean? These are server terms. Right? Does OJ mean oh jam? I mean, I'll have some jam. Server, would you like any appetizers? No, I think we'll just have the entree, Alex says. What does entree mean? These are French words. And as you see here, I'll have the filet mignon. If you're a real American with not a lot of education or world experience, you would say, I'll have the filet mignon. But this is actually a French word, filet mignon. A couple hundred years ago, when cowboys were spreading through the West and going to eventually populate all the way through California from Texas, we did not have high class food or any types of nice desserts. So the French brought those food items. And again, we didn't have the English for them, like I told you before, and we had to accept the French terms. Like I said, Koreans came and they said, we have kimchi. How do you call kimchi in English? And we don't know because we don't have it. So we had to use the Korean. So you'll see many dessert terms and high-level restaurant food terms, and they're all in French. So become familiar with them so you don't sound like an American that says filet mignon or champagne. Okay, you can tell that person does not have a lot of worldly experience. Server, sure, how would you like it? Talking about the filet mignon. I'd like it rare, Alex says, and hold the mushrooms. So the waiter is going to hold the mushrooms in his hand for maybe an hour. Is that what that means? Server. And for you, ma'am, Leah, I'll have the seafood combination or combinación with rice. Server, the dinner comes with a vegetable. What would you like? Alex says, I'll have broccoli, a side salad. Is broccoli popular in other countries? It wasn't really popular here. My dad refused to eat it. So I like it. Leah, and I'll have some sauteed onions with seafood. So again, this is a French word. What does sauteed mean? That's not the American pronunciation. It was a sauteed, no, sauteed. Now we're going to move on to our third and last story. I try to give you 3 stories a week. Is this what I ordered? So when you get something strange that doesn't look like what you ordered, this is exactly what you say. Excuse me. Is this what I ordered? You do not say, what the hell is this? This looks like an animal was killed here. What's going on? They just say, excuse me, sir or ma'am, server, is this what I ordered? I think I ordered the whale and not the wild boar or meteji. Okay, so we'll start right here. We know what you're thinking. I'm having a lovely dinner out. Again, what is lovely? You know, I'm sure many of the girls in my class are lovely. But what is a lovely dinner? Why should I complain? American restaurants place a top priority. What is a top priority? On excellent service. Because people have so many choices when dining out. If a restaurant service isn't perfect, it can lose customers. The waiters and waitresses know that great service equals great tips. So they'll do their best to be sure you have an excellent meal. But let's face it, everyone has a bad day. So what does that mean? Let's face it. Does that mean let's put our face on our food? What does that mean? You may have a beef about something if the food or service is not right. So does that mean you walk around with a beefsteak in your pocket when you're ready to complain to the waiter or waitress? Servers are not surprised if a customer has a legitimate complaint. So what is legitimate? I think we can guess complaint. For example, it is absolutely unacceptable for anything in the place setting to be dirty. So you don't want to see a stain on your spoon or a big ketchup stain inside your glass. Those things are unacceptable. Your server should apologize. What does it mean to apologize? And immediately replace the item with one that is spotlessly clean. What does spotless mean? Although this is not fast food, remember this is more upscale. If the service is too slow, or if the waiter doesn't ask enough, if there's anything you can need, then you can complain. So that's like the waiter comes, takes your order, brings your food, and never comes back. Never says, would you like more water? Would you like more coffee? What would you like for dessert? Do you need bread? It just disappears. Maybe he goes and sits down in the back and watches the Dodger game. I don't know. If the food is not hot when it arrives, you can complain. I went to a Denny's one time. I don't know if you guys eat chili, like if you've gone to Tommy's Chili Burgers, which are not far from K-Town. And, you know, if you like chili, I don't know if they still do, but Denny's used to have chili. So many years ago, I went with my friend late at night because Denny's is open 24 hours. And he ordered a chili, you know, a bowl of chili. And I'll never forget when it came, I wasn't paying attention to his dish. I was putting some maybe Splenda inside my iced tea so it could be sweet without the calories. And my friend called the waiter over and said, can you take the chili ice cube back to the kitchen? I said, what the hell is this guy talking about? And I looked, and I guess the chili was frozen, and the guy just threw it in the microwave for too short of a time. So the chili was still frozen inside a big ice cube, not or a block of ice. Not even, didn't heat enough for even the chili to melt. So pretty bad. You can't complain. Okay. If the food is not hot when it arrives, you can complain. Okay, so that's pretty cold if it's supposed to be hot and it's ice. If you don't get the dish that you ordered, you can complain. Again, you ordered the chimpanzee casserole and they brought the giraffe stew, you can't complain. Of course, the best way to complain is to be very polite. It's nice. Here's another thing I'm going to let you guys know. This might be the most important thing I tell you in the lesson today. Be very polite. That's why you don't say, what the hell is this? You say, is this what I ordered? Or here you say, excuse me, I think there was a mistake. Like I said, I didn't order the giraffe. I ordered the chimpanzee. Is it possible? Can you fix this for me? I would really be happy. Thank you. Do it in that style, right? You say, well, why? I have the right to be angry and I'm going to get tough. I'm important. Well, the news, I'll never forget, they interviewed the people who worked in restaurants. And they said people who complain too much or they complain in a nasty way or call the waiter or waitress bad names, when they changed the order before they brought it back, 9 times out of 10, the waiter or waitress spit in the food. And you won't see it, but you'll eat it, right? And if people are afraid about getting COVID now, shit. So you complain in a nasty way, disrespectful way, you're probably going to eat some spit in your spaghetti. Be kind, be very polite. Okay. All right. If there has been a problem and if you're polite when you mention it, the restaurant staff will usually try their best to correct their mistake. There's an expression in English: you can catch more flies with honey than with vinegar. This means that if you're very polite, people will try to make you happy. If you are very rude, they might not try their best. This also applies to dating, right? If a man is kind to women, he has more of an opportunity. Again, using honey to catch a woman, to catch a girlfriend. If he's nasty, tough, ego-filled, and he's applying vinegar, all the women are going to run away from him. Okay. Except Pamela might kill him first, and then she'll run. Okay, this is our last dialogue for the day, dialogue 3. Alan, miss, excuse me, but my glass has a smudge on it. So please look up the word smudge. Server, I'm terribly sorry, sir. I'll get you a clean one right away. This is not good. Sometime later, I mean, she took her time. Maybe the guy was thirsty, he wanted water. Now he has to wait an extra 10 minutes. Alan, miss, I'm still waiting for a clean glass, and we still haven't received our salads. We've been waiting a long time for our food. So he's saying, being very nice, miss, we haven't, you know. Server, I am so sorry. We're a little busier than usual tonight, and we are short-staffed. So what does it mean, short-staffed? I'll bring it immediately. I'll also bring some water. So it sounds very nice, and she's trying to be kind. As we continue with the server, here you are, sir. I brought you another glass of wine on the house. What does on the house mean? Very nice, glass of wine. The manager would also like to give you a dessert of your choice. Also, compliments of the house. Does that mean the house itself can give you a compliment? Sir, you look very handsome today. Thank you. I'm the house and I can speak English. We're so sorry for the mix-up. Sorry, you had to wait. We're done. Oh my gosh, gosh. Okay. So the show. Oops, I really jumped there, didn't I? Okay, but that's okay. Stop the share. There I am. Okay, so we're done for this class lesson. We're just scheduled for April the 25th to be the 4th week. And take care, everyone. That means the next lesson will be in May, and we're just punching through this year. Didn't it just start? Wasn't it just January 1st? So anyway, everybody take care, and I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Bye-bye.